Hello and welcome to Gamers Without Borders. Watch, game, learn, and donate. And it is day 3 of this charity Rainbow Six Siege tournament. I'm Jackie Jing and I'm with Jesse and Jacob. Hello, hello. It has been a wild day so far. I'm taking over for Milosh. Miss him dearly. B-Boop, did you take care of Milosh? Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it, B-Boop. Well, we have a fantastic day ahead of us, like I was saying, but we got to jump right into things.
The record showed that B-Boop was not mentioned a single time when Milosh was on the desk just now. So
I bet he felt unappreciated. Wow.
Jesse, for the love of God, it is June the 4th and you're in a turtleneck.
I'm in Canada. It's minus 30 up here. Give me a break.
It's not minus 30 in Canada. Are you joking
help
me right now?
That entire country needs help, Jackie.
Okay.
Can we hella lift him out of Edmonton to someplace warmer? I think he needs it.
I'll talk to B-Boop and see what we can arrange, but we have to get to the LATAM bracket, okay? So, Jacob, talk to me. Break it down for all those watching at home.
Well, MIBR kind of put FaZe Clan through their paces yesterday and delivered a 2-0 pretty swift victory, one of the only times that we've seen a 2-0 on the mainstream so far for any of these brackets for Gamers Without Borders. So they're in the grand finals, they're locked in, so now it's a rematch between FaZe Clan and Escolinha de Bubu. The final decider to figure out who the last grand finalist was going to be. It has been very interesting watching this Escolinha team claw their way through after getting more of an understanding of who's actually on that roster, and now they've got FaZe again, and that was a 2-1. So is it going to be the same level of closeness for the second game?
Well, we will have to see, and we are ready to move into the map selection process. B-Boop is working very hard to bring that information up on your screen. So, Jesse, what do you think we're going to see here? Ooh.
Well, Jackie, last time these two teams faced each other, they had very dominant wins on their own map picks. Escolinha ended up picking Cafe, FaZe picked Bank. I expect those to be banned by the opposite teams, and FaZe are already jumping on that, banning out Cafe. We'll see if the second ban from Escolinha follows that trend, but when you lose a map 7-2 to an opponent, it's very rare that you want to bring that one back. Border off the field for Escolinha de Bubu as well. We haven't seen them play that map before, so maybe just not one that they're comfortable on. And there goes Bank. Again, that's what FaZe Clan chose last time. Very dominant win. Not surprised that's leaving the field. Chalet as well, a common ban for FaZe Clan. They're not huge fans of this map. They've played it, but they're not, itching to play it, itching to try it out, especially in such an important game like this one. Picks still up. Of course, they're going to have to choose different maps. Clubhouse first for FaZe Clan. This is a map that I haven't seen Escolinha de Bubu play, but it was a big map for FaZe back at SI, and then Oregon coming through. This was the decider map that Escolinha de Bubu played to in the Copa do Brasil. They lost it, but still a map they're comfortable on, I hope.
It's worth to mention that FaZe have actually not played Club since the Six Invitational. Did not worry about it at all during stage 1 of BR6 or Copa de Brazil immediately following. Oregon is a nice one for them that they're like 1-1 on it over that same time frame, so it's a bit of a toss-up. And then no Villa. This one I thought was interesting because you're looking for something else that FaZe Clan can probably excel at, but they take Villa off in spite of that being a map that they have 2 wins on over the past couple of months. So we're back to Sky. For some reason, this tournament, people love Skyscraper as like the map 3 if we need to go there, but that's not a map either team really have shown any prowess on or even decided to pick all that much over this last 3-month span since the Six Invitational. So that one should be pretty interesting to see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I believe our teams are ready to go, locked in. So, B-Boop, let's go down to the Cyberpunk basement and say hi to Ollie and Demo. Hi, Ollie and Demo. B-Boop's coming to y'all.
Hello, Jackie,
B-Boop.
Jacob, and Jesse. Thank you very much indeed. Hey, B-Boop. We're about to drop down through this wonderful circle and enter the old Cyberpunk basement. Here we are, Demo. We're back on the right sides. Order has been restored. I'm back on the left,
down
you're
than
back
you
on the
see
right.
that. This is actually quite like real life, isn't it? We're sitting down, but you're a little bit taller,
very
aren't you?
realistic. I'm sort of hitting my head on the ceiling, which happens all the time.
My ginger's starting to really come through. I think I'm starting to notice that a bit. I think the sun hit me. I was out in the sun yesterday.
Yeah, you're hitting them rays.
But yeah, it's ready to go again. Back into LATAM we go.
Absolutely. Our air quotes home region, at least it was for a time. We get to see a little bit more of what these teams have to offer here. This is a rematch for us as well as the teams, Demo.
Yeah,
it's the first game that we covered here on Gamers Without Borders. Way back on Thursday. FaZe were successful in that first round, although it did take all 3 maps to decide that. Escolinha de Bubu by no means a slouch here when it comes to Siege. Certainly very familiar with facing off against their fellow countrymen. We head to Clubhouse for our first game.
We do. Clubhouse. It's a map that always strikes me as it's a FaZe masterclass, isn't it, Ollie? It's one that we know they're so good on. So yeah, no surprise, I think, to see FaZe want to go to this map. They're comfortable on it. The thing about whenever I look at Clubhouse, yes, it's a very default map. You know, very basic. Not much is really going to surprise you. I think FaZe has been the team who's probably, I think, redefined how you can play Clubhouse since probably SSG. You look at some of the attacks FaZe can do. You know, Clubhouse is known as quite a slow map where you have to do this and this and this. FaZe Clan, you know, with that meta that they have where if they see an opening, they'll do it. You know, if they see an opportunity to just rush into a site, rush up a staircase, they'll go for it. And I think that's where FaZe has just become so dangerous on a map like Clubhouse, because the traditional way of playing this, they don't do that.
I mean, FaZe are anything but traditional, right? They're not even, air quotes, traditional LATAM in that sort of aggressive playstyle. Yeah, sure, you'll see it from time to time, but it's not what they are entirely known for. This is a team that can turn it on in many different ways, whether they want to play a little bit more structured, whether they want to play a little bit looser. Something I'm quite pleased about today, Demo, is we're actually getting to see a little bit of Azami. Azami was the permaban when we saw these two teams play on Thursday, albeit under different circumstances and on different maps, but here, a little bit of Azami action.
Yeah, and straight away, I mean, Astro isn't going to shy away from picking the Azami. I wonder what they have in store for us with this operator. So we're going straight to the gym and bedroom, usually seen as the third pick bomb site, Ollie. And I would say probably the second best. I think basement's still the strongest, and I would go gym. I've started to see that the upstairs, the cash room, is actually quite heavily attacker-sided. It's a real struggle to defend these days, so I think gym and bedroom, you know, we have to get to the stage where this, in my opinion, is probably the second favorite.
It's getting up there, isn't it? Cash is becoming more and more solved. Gym and bedroom, whilst it plays similarly, you do need to extend into cash. You do just get that little bit more room to breathe as a defender. And especially when you can play things like deployable shield, top of cash stairs, you can have somebody in radio, you can really start to stretch and push these attackers and force them to do things like use a lot of utility. Two hard breaches being brought here. Both of them are going to see a little bit of action in the early part of the round. They've got to clear out these roamers.
They do indeed. You look at the lineup from the attack. Pretty standard run-of-the-mill from what you would expect on a map like Clubhouse. Plenty of hard destruction that you're going to need. And speaking of hard destruction, it's going to be the ace to have the entry. Hate will find one, but Souls is there with the refrag. So at the moment, FaZe may be able to stem off at least one hard breacher, but I don't think Escolinha are too worried about that. They've got their control of server to get the drones in. They can see that cache is also open to them. So that extension has been dealt with in good time as well. Ollie, 1 minute 20, plenty of time to start setting up next stage, start rotating over towards Jacuzzi, open up that main wall and start pincering these players who are still on the bomb site. But look at FaZe, really dropping off. You see a lot of the Azami barriers being placed around inside of gym. And there's the rotate, as expected, Ollie.
Yeah, just around the minute mark, we need to see these attackers start to rotate, solve problems elsewhere. Should be relatively straightforward for Thermite to get that wall open, can just repel and place the exothermic charge.
Thatcher's open.
Nice and high. There was a mute jammer still on the wall, but yeah, like you say, even with Thatcher open, you're not going to come over under too many insurmountable problems. And it's of course going to make hatches quite difficult when we look toward Church and Arsenal, especially with the Hibana and the Maverick removed. Great C4 from Souls. Dodged the bullet there, picks himself up a third as well. Draws for the SMG. Toxic Babes can now start to cut off any advancement through that Jacuzzi breach. Hashi has got himself into the site, but what damage can he do? The diffuser is not going to be in possession of either of these two attackers. 14 seconds left. Hashi will recover and start to try and get a plant down, but he is the sole survivor. 7 seconds, not a great deal that he can do here. Has to try and search for something Ends up finding cameraman in a hail of bullets.
Looked to be timing was a bit off there from Escolinha, Ollie, with the actual execute. Players pushing in towards construction have definitely went, I think, before the mark. You're seeing Souls just swing onto the doorway, get 2 kills. Their Thermite was still outside breach. Smoked off, couldn't do anything. I think Escolinha just need to time that a lot better, don't they, Ollie? Because on Clubhouse, if you start pushing in one by one, you'll be punished.
Especially against a team like FaZe. You know, you look at what Souls was able to do in that round. Got the trade after the opening kill, so neutralized that opening kill advantage Escolinha briefly had. Was able to get a great C4 kill onto the balcony, and then is in position. As you mentioned, the timing, while it was slow, it was also just a little bit off tick for Escolinha. They were just not in the right place at the right time. A couple of seconds earlier, and instead of picking up 2 kills, Souls probably gets taken out with a C4 in his hand as he's throwing it. A little bit unfortunate. Back downstairs we go, should I say downstairs we go for the first time. I already mentioned, Demo, that with the Hibana ban, the Maverick ban, and the Cade ban, it's going to make these hatches a little bit tricky.
Impact tricking is now where we kind of look towards, but you actually look at the line from FaZe. No real signs of any intent of impact tricking. Yes, you see a Vigil with impacts. He's roaming. He's not going to be sat in sight. A lot of C4s, though. Triple C4 setup from FaZe, so I think FaZe, they're happy enough to give hatch control, and that's because they're just going to try and deny it from a bit of a roam game upstairs. The classic SSG that we see time in, time out. You have this extension upstairs, you play in towards logistics, you open up the flooring inside of logistics, and that looks straight down in towards kitchen, so you can stop anyone trying to open up the hatch from that position. Of course, it is risky though, Wally, compared to impact tricking. You put yourself at the danger of getting pushed, getting hunted. Whereas impact tricking, you can sit quite comfortable in sight and just let the time tick away and just burn that utility.
Oh, look at Cyber, he's going to go for air, picks himself up one onto King. It's funny we mentioned impact tricking, because Cyber actually used that one impact he had left to impact trick one of the Selmas off the jacuzzi wall, forcing 2 to be used. Well, there's going to be none left now, as Hashi will fall. Cyber, he has done his job and more, and he knows it. Scurrying back down to the basement. There is no need to stay on this extension anymore. You have only got 1 exothermic to worry about. That's 1 hatch that will be opened at best at this point.
Yeah, I look at this round and it has to be locked in for FaZe now. 2 massive kills in the beginning. Didn't lose anyone for the troubles as well. Hatches are obviously going to be an issue still. Thermite has to risk walking into kitchen now, Ollie. C4s are still on the board. Could be used just to C4 him. So has to really think about what they want to do. The only thing with this roam game, and it's one thing that I've talked about quite a few times, Ollie, whenever you're going for that extension, a lot of teams will open up the logistics hatch, or the memorial hatch, looking down into the actual bomb site inside a bar. Whenever you open that up, why go for the roam game? Because right now, if that was reinforced, what would the options really be right now for Escolinha?
It could be a lot worse for Escolinha, couldn't it? You know, fortunately, they've got 2 hatches that have been opened by the defenders, so they can actually play off those now.
Yeah.
Kitchen hatches, you mentioned, very unlikely to be open, even more so now that we actually see Florio dropping and turning his attention toward that church wall. The wall will be open now.
Cons.
He's got 2 players inside of church. Flo's going to find one onto Souls. That's really important, especially with Cons inside of Long, but he isn't long for this world as Flo is able to trade back onto Cyber, but it's all down to Hates. He's going to drop himself into Blue. He has the LMG, so he's got the bullets and the firepower, but he didn't have the info. Bullet able to swing, gets a little bit of information there. We can see red and yellow pings coming through. FaZe not looking too concerned there, Demo in round 2.
Nah, easy for them. Done it in the roam game. 2 opening picks. Back to site they go. They can just sit, run down the clock. They know that Escolinha, you know, they were wounded with those first 2 opening picks, and they can only limp into one direction realistically. They're not going to be able to spread out with all the hard breach, open up dirt, open up kitchen, open up blue, get a guy down main stairs. You know, the generic clubhouse attack that we see with everything going into it, all these different crossfires, these brilliant executes. It's not going to happen if you're down 2 men right off the rip.
Especially if you think about what they lost and what tools they had left to try and salvage that round with. It's always going to be very difficult. Now we go to FaZe's third choice site. CCTV and Cash. It's going to be nice to see where Cyber chooses to use Azami here. We've already seen him place one on the catwalk. Of course, one of the biggest problems with this site is Garage. You have to commit somebody to the catwalk, and you're going to do that in a number of ways. You're going to play Wamai, you're going to play Jaeger, you're going to play all of that utility in order to try and keep that player up there as safe as possible. And we can see that there's just a little bit of an extension been given, whereas normally there is a gap in that railing. That gap has now been filled, but it's very unlikely to be dealt with. You're not likely going to throw a nade or a projectile in to deal with that. And even if you do, you've got to wade through all of those catching utilities. You've got to wade through the ADS, the magnet. It's going to be very difficult here for Escolinha to try and root anybody out of catwalk.
There goes the main wall. Oh, never mind. It's been tricked. How have they let that happen then, Ollie? Isn't that, Siege 101? How to deal with a bandit trick?
It's close to page 1, isn't it?
You should be knowing it at this stage. Obviously, we know the Escolinha new side, a lot of young players coming in for the second division. Getting caught up by a bandit trick, it's going to slow you down massively. And on Clubhouse, you need all the time that you can get. Whenever generically there's so much denial being brought in by defenders, you think about C4s that can happen from below, over the top, onto the default plant and server. That's always going to be a factor that you need to play against. So the time's always against you as the attacking side. So just little moments, little slip-ups like that, it can be the make or break.
It's unforgivable given the lineup as well. You've got the Zephyr, you've got 2 hard breaches, Thatcher's available for goodness sake. Like, what more do you really need to make sure that you don't get tricked? Bandit can't be in 2 places at once, so I don't know how much it's really going to mean here. Hashi's still got 1 Selma left. Of course, he's maybe not going to have the impact that Thermite would have done if they do choose to pivot and target construction, which is where Cons is playing right now. Astro just on the other side of that hard wall. The hatch open from below, as is the norm. This is where the Azami really comes into its own. Cyber's already chosen to block off the majority of that doorway into sight.
Well, there seems to be clutch
for an impact trick here, as well as FaZe doing a fantastic job of tearing through this utility.
Why is he swinging onto the main breach? I don't think they needed to go for that, and this is where FaZe are starting to get desperate. They're getting put under pressure, so much hard destruction, opening up all these different angles, and they think, you know what, we just need to get out of here, but you're going straight into crossfires. This is where the upstairs, all I mentioned before, it is not favored for the defense. It's so claustrophobic whenever those walls start getting opened up, and there's not a damn thing FaZe can do against it. Escolinha, we were worried, couldn't even do a simple opening against a bandit trick, but they still managed to make it work. FaZe just desperate, and Ollie, that just kind of proves my point. Upstairs, it's not favorable anymore. I don't like it. I mean,
it's not favorable when you've got people swinging main breach for no good reason. You know that someone's going to be on rappel there, and then you've got Souls, who, for all intents and purposes, was almost in kennels. He was almost in the attacker spawn where he was running out to. He's going to be notified for ages. Not a chance of picking up the kill onto the player on rappel. Is happy to roll the dice there, but it only was ever going to end one way. They could have held on. You talk about how claustrophobic it was. It was definitely claustrophobic, but time was running out, and it was really on Escolinha to do something. They had to make a play there, and they didn't. They just let FaZe fall into their lap. That's not really something that you can rely all too much on. Still, not a bad first rotation for FaZe. Only dropping 1 out of the first 3 sites. They go back now to gym and bedroom, where we kicked this game off. This was kind of the polar opposite, wasn't it, Demo?
Mm-hmm. I think you look at Escolinha and how they're playing, it's very by the book. What we expect from Clubhouse, and I think we have to commend the young side. Whenever you're starting off, do the basics right. How many times we said this, Ollie, during grassroots level competitions? You do the basics and round wins will happen.
It is. It's a simple formula to follow. Not always easy to execute. Cyber. Was punished there for a little bit of early aggression.
This is where Escolinha, I think, can really take advantage of this matchup. FaZe Clan are obviously going to be very confident in their own. They know that they can beat Escolinha on any given day. Everyone will say that. And whenever FaZe then start to have that overconfidence, they can start to get punished. And Escolinha, they don't need to do anything flashy. We know FaZe are that aggressive side. They will go out and hunt kills if they feel like it. Escolinha don't need to rush things. You know, it's Clubhouse. Like we mentioned, it's by the book. You sit, you hold your angles, you get your drones in, you aggress whenever you have that information, but don't be going in being the hero. FaZe will give you opportunities. FaZe will have missteps. They will play solo at times, and this is where you can really start punishing them. Moments like this, Ollie. You don't need to be going for him. What threat is he realistically going to do to you from inside a boiler?
Difficult gunfight to take. Bullet's likely going to pick himself up another, but no, fluffs the shot. Hates. He's going to be credited with that one.
Look, why are they
Cameraman
hunting
and
downstairs?
Astro. Well, Cameraman and Astro have both made a cracking rotation there, really. They know that the players inside of the basement were being punished, and, you know, if you can waste time fighting where the site isn't, you are going to drag these attackers all over the show. Flo is going to be inside of construction here. He could look to try and crouch walk through. He does have a little bit of cover as the nades start to fly in from Vitaking. Vitaking going to look to try and back him up, maybe approach somewhere through logistics. 50 seconds, there's still a bit of time to gather some info here. Cameraman will be playing inside a Logi though. Not going to be the easiest push on into sight, especially if there are any of those Goyo pockets well placed. Smokes now to stop any advancement through logistics. All of this doing a great deal to burn the clock further. Souls has got his sights lasered, and he's going to use a C4 to finish the job. He knew that Vitaking was going to have to push through there at some point. Flo now just getting a little bit of aggro into the smoke. 1 versus 3 here, 15 seconds. Cameraman, he was anticipating him to be prone. It's not even going to matter. Picks the first, but gets taken down by none other than Souls. Not taking any chances there. Laid prone and happy to collect.
Good stuff from FaZe. I mean, Escolinha, why are they looking to hunt kills downstairs, Ollie? For what purpose? What is the Goyo going to do? What, maybe flank up blue, try and see for you guys whenever you're in cash? Just sit somebody in lounge. That deals with him. You don't need to be going downstairs hunting for that. FaZe, we know they're going to be aggressive. We've seen the double man rotation because they know Escolinha is going to fall into that trap of, oh, we see one guy, we have to hunt him, we have to kill him. But in reality, they don't have to. Escolinha do not have to.
Down to the basement we go. This was a site that Escolinha came up against quite a lot of obstacle when attacking onto previously. They really got torn apart on that roam game. Cyber playing upstairs. I think he was on the Vigil last time. He's going to be on Azami now. So, still very similar kit in that he brings impacts. But again, FaZe not looking to impact Trick necessarily onto hatches, more just to soak utility up by defending this top floor, and in doing so, waste a lot of time as well. It was a strategy that was successful for them previously in round number 2. Let's see how they fare here.
FaZe, happy enough, I think, to see that basement open up for them again. Escolinha last time, Ollie, just struggling with that opening engagement. Roamer's doing good work for FaZe. Just Escolinha, how well can they tighten things up and make sure that the entries are doing their job? They'll get caught out by Cyber just jumping out windows and catching you with your pants down. They'll take a bit of time, get the drones in. FaZe happy enough to waste time, we know that. I mean, generally, whenever you're roaming upstairs, that's a new texture for the flooring there. Whenever you see teams extend upstairs in towards logistics office, in towards bedroom, those players in those positions know that they will likely die. They are happy to die there, because as long as they can waste time and get a bit of utility, get some kills, they're happy to do that. FaZe, already realizing that, hey, it's been like already over a full minute, they haven't hunted us at all, let's just go back to site. Which is probably the correct call. You've wasted your time. nobody was looking to actually aggress from Escolinha. Go back to site, play that man advantage. You have tons of C4, deny access to kitchen. So once again, you're forcing Escolinha into this triple wall take.
Hates looks like he'll be framing up for a drop here into church. Just throws the nade on in. It's going to pop one of the Goyo pockets. FaZe doing a great job of this denial. They've really been using Goyo and the smoke in conjunction with one another. Hates maybe looking to make a bit of progress now down blue. Typically somewhere that you would see as a fear or a thinker play. It's important that you've got at least one gun in the fight over there. Something with a little bit more destructibility might be a bit nicer. C4 through there from Bullet. Not going to dish the finishing blow, but will chunk Vitaking down significantly. Toxic Babes now looking to try and cut off anybody dropping in through Memorial. Vita will be successful onto Bullet, though. Finds that vertical kill onto Kitchen. That relieves a lot of the pressure in that area. Cyber's pushed up a little bit more aggressively into blue. Is he going to be able to find the kill? Yes, he is. Hayes gets himself taken out. Brilliant play by Cyber. Look at him go. Impacts through, has a perfect line of sight in onto Church and finds the third. How does he get away with this demo? Picks himself up 4 kills on the round. Souls collects the last. Fantastic hold there for FaZe.
Oh, just John Wick mode, isn't it, Ollie? One player comes, bang, spin around, find another, bang, another one, spin around, bang. Wow. Good game from Cyber. We know the potential that guy has. We've seen some of the numbers, you know, record-breaking numbers that he's had, Ollie, throughout his career in Siege. And, yeah, he's just... I mean, what can he say? What can he say?
He's certainly up there with one of the best that's ever done it. And on his day, I suddenly wouldn't like to be going up against him.
That's a bold claim, that.
You can't argue with Cyber.
Has it ever done it?
I said he's up there.
I don't know.
He's got to be in a top 10.
Top 10 best of all time?
Not best of, like, best, like, flashy fragger.
Oh, right, well, specify. Because whenever you say best of all time, that's
I didn't say best of all time. I didn't. I said best that's ever done it.
Best that's... Okay, same... That means the same thing.
Yeah, I should have defined it.
It's like to say there's a lot of strong players in the time.
I didn't realize this was a deposition demo.
It is. You can't be saying that. Redditors will have you by the neck.
I feel like you've got the spotlight on me now, and I'm being interviewed in a room with a big mirror. You're about to send in good cop, bad cop on me.
God, if only. Anywho, back up to the dreaded bomb site, as I think we'll dub it now, Ollie. FaZe really struggling last time. Probably the only time that FaZe have looked weak inside of this game, Ollie, would have to be this round. Or the last time we've seen this round play out on the cash room. Once again, walls being opened up, no issues at all from Escolinha, so FaZe already they're gonna be feeling, you know, feeling the pressure, feeling the heat. I wonder what their approach is going to be, because you simply can't just leave the bomb site undefended. You have to try and put up a fight. You have to do something. You looked at how Escolinha played it last time. They had no interest in any garage pressure. They were happy enough to let the guy in Raptor sit where he was. They were more focused on moving in towards construction, opening up in towards bedroom, yada, 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 the kind of second push that we see a lot of the time. So I just wonder what FaZe are going to do. Are they going to put up a fight inside of bedroom? Are they going to try and maybe go for some light flanks? I don't know, but they can't give Escolinha this control. It's a very easy bomb site to attack whenever everything's open.
You get the impression that FaZe are playing this one a little bit more reserved. Things did start to go badly for them in the previous attempt at this site, and as such, they kind of just started to throw the kitchen sink at solving the problems. But as we've mentioned, whilst it isn't the best site for defenders, if you just play the power positions and dig in where you are strongest, you're not going to have the worst time of things here. You're getting construction wall open with around 50 seconds left. Hates just going to get himself back up onto Repel here. There's been no pressure inside a garage demo, and there's still players from FaZe below.
Yeah, I think FaZe are trying to rely on the laurels of C4 from below to deny access to a plant going down. See Astro, he's downstairs trying to support Cyber. If they keep Cyber alive, it's going to be a free kill at least onto the diffuser going down, which we know inevitably will come from Escolinha. You can see Flo has it ready to move in. It's just when will the execute happen for Escolinha, and are they going to be ready for a C4 happening from below? Massive kill from Souls will eliminate Hate. There's the C4, will catch one. Diffuser cold on the ground. Hashi needs to try and pick it up. He just walked right past it. Instead, it's going to be Viking. It's just only Viking left. He's going to try and stick to Diffuser, but FaZe, they've backed off Ollie. Some very important kills. The C4 from below worked so well for them. A massive kill, I think, coming in from Souls to eliminate the player on the Repel. Big moments there from FaZe, some big individual engagements, and if it went the other way, FaZe would not have had a shoe-in inside that round.
Great round there from FaZe. I think they did fantastically to really back themselves off. We commented about the, play from below as well, and it was just something that Escolinha just hadn't even accounted for. Back down to the basement we go, as this is going to be the first attempt for Escolinha on their defensive half. They need to have a pretty standout half here, Demo. I understand that Clubhouse of old was seen as somewhere that could be fairly defender-sided, but for me, in recent memory, it's very 50-50. Attackers have got a lot of good tools now to deal with a lot of these problems. Especially a well-coordinated team. FaZe have put himself in a great position.
It's been a while since I've seen a 5-1 defense. Long time in Clubhouse. I think 4-2 was like the last defender-sided thing I've seen, but 5-1, boy. That is rolling back the years. So FaZe, how are they going to approach that? I mean, you look at their lineup straight away, Ollie. You're seeing 2 picks, which are probably new compared to what we've seen Escolinha bring, which is very old school, very old style Siege. We're seeing a nuke coming in, and we're also seeing the Buck make an appearance. Buck is a solid pick. I think whenever you look at the fundamentals of Clubhouse, he's going to be great for soft destruction, opening up that kitchen flooring, but also he has the double hard breach gadget. So if you do lose your ace, which we know sometimes does happen, he's there to substitute, and also, if he needs to get a hatch open, he can do that with ease.
Yeah, I think that Buck's in quite a nice place. I know the big meme of, give Buck back nades sort of thing. Yeah, nades would be really nice, but in reality, the secondary hard breach gadget is invaluable. Yeah, because you can bring one hard breacher in the ace, cameraman's going to be playing ace. And you don't actually really need a second. It deals with, the problems of impact tricking and all that sort of stuff. Not incredibly well, but well enough. And FaZe have already made really good progress. They've got kitchen hatch open. They've picked themselves up an opening kill. With a grenade, no less. I think that went through the hatch.
How did it... There's 2 ADSs there. Did they burn? What did they burn it with?
Maybe it went through tunnel?
Did they burn it with the Sophia charges? Because they've no flashes. And there was literally 2 ADSs right beside that player who died. I'm not sure. Bullet's been picked off. I'm pretty sure that is from the change repel. He's just been absolutely binged by Vita. And that means that FaZe are maybe lacking there in a bit of the flank watch, and that may put them on ease at the moment. Astro has made a bit of a solo play down in through the oil pit. He will be finished off. Cameron just dropped into the bomb site, has the future at hand, but isn't ready to go for it. Maybe waiting for the Buck to rotate down on towards main stairs to give that cover. Now he will go for the plant. So FaZe, all they need to do is hold these players at bay while this diffuser's going down. Cyber inside of dirt. As we've seen the Buck rotate down to main stairs, there will be a challenge on main stairs, and it's going to be Souls who wins it. Viking finds Cameraman, and that's a 2 versus 2 in the post plant. Make that a 2 versus 1, and Vita is on a tear. 3 kills for himself, but Cyber is upstairs, and the diffuser is going to be right below him in a great position for him to overwatch it from the hatch. How's it going to go? There needs to be some big plays from Escolinha now.
I think we are getting a player rotate there up the main stairs. Flo still looks very unsure as to what's going on. He's going to have to try and stick this defuse. Cyber needs to win the gunfight. Can't prioritize both. Can he get the finishing shot on Cyber? You've managed to do it there. He needs 7.5 seconds. It might be a quad kill, but it's going to be a round that goes to FaZe. It's going to put them onto a match point.
Oh, my heart sings for Viking, Ollie. A quad kill, and he still walks away with a round loss. Oh, that has to sting. That has to sting.
Demo, I told you, Cyber's one of the best that's ever done it.
No, stop that.
That prioritization there is what makes an incredible player. He knows that he's in a gunfight, and he knows that it doesn't matter if he loses the gunfight to the guy on kitchen door, because he could win that gunfight and still lose the round. The only win condition there is to stop the diffuser from being disabled. And he did everything in his power to make that happen. Sure, you're going to take death, but it doesn't matter. It was like 7 or 8 seconds at the point where that final kill came through. Maybe 8.5. You need 7.5 seconds to counter defuse. There was not enough time. Great prioritization from him. 10 and 5 on the map as well, Demo. And we've only seen 7 rounds.
It's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
10 seconds to go.
FaZe just went for their very typical kitchen dirt. Not much more you can say. It's a classic in Siege that we see time and time again. But yeah, Vita hit some great shots. We didn't actually see the kill, but he managed to kill cameraman who was on the nuke on the change rappel. That is a tough shot to hit. So the fact that he's even done that to begin with, yeah, the guy has some good mechanical skill, Ollie. But I just don't think the scoreline's shown at the moment for Escolinha. It feels like they should have at least like 2 extra rounds, but that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still been very one-sided for FaZe, but I do get what you mean in that I feel like Escolinha have had a few chances.
They've had opportunities.
We might be about to see a bit of a classic from FaZe here.
That's just what I'm talking about. Like moments like this from Clubhouse, it's not your typical Clubhouse. They do things like this.
Dropping into logistics immediately into the arms of Hates. Escolinha, they knew exactly what was coming to them there. And look at the position Souls has got himself in now. Astro's going to have to try and assist. Manages to find himself one. Immediately drops the hatch to get himself out of danger. But Hates has already picked up his second. Cyber and Souls both currently down. Astro, around 20 HP to speak of. It's not going to be an easy round from here on out for FaZe. Cameraman will be able to get this wall open into construction. Bullet from below. Might be able to make something happen with the nades here. At least give himself a couple of lines of sight to be working with. But that initial burst of energy is very quickly dissipated.
It's good info there from Bullet. Able to see one man on catwalk. I wonder if he's going to use that information to maybe just find an easy kill. I'm sure there is going to be teammates on that drone. I'd hope so. Just readjusting it. They should know where he is. It's just when will they make the play? When will they make the plunge? You see those keeper barriers up and alive, Ollie. That's going to make things very, very difficult for Bullet to have any chance of a swing. Where Zami can be quite useful just to reinforce even stronger positions that we know could be very tricky for attackers to go into. And Vit is happy enough, but never mind. Cameraman just strolls casually through the breach. Eliminates the player in catwalk, and all of a sudden FaZe now are in a great position to get this defuse down.
Bullet has full control of catwalk as well. He can look to advance onto that. Cameraman is in the default plant spot. There's going to be one C4 in Hates' hands. Bullet can provide a little bit of overwatch here. Picks himself up a great kill onto Hashi. Diffuser at 50%. Bullet just needs to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but the C4 does come through. Bullet, no option now but to try and aggress on up. The keeper barrier is making it difficult, just changing the landscape for him here. Gonna have to try and hop on through and pick up that kill, but he too will fall. Astro, he's been cut off, finds himself one, has recovered the diffuser. There's no time left to get kills. He's got no other choice but to get that plant down. It should be down just in the nick of time. Can he swing onto Hates here? He's gonna lay prone. Demo goes for the pre-fire, but Hates with the quad looks to finish off the kill to pad his own stats as well, just to ensure that hell of a round.
Bomb diffuser disabled by defenders.
My, oh my.
Defenders win.
That was so close. What a roller coaster of a round. Both teams just having opportunities. You know, it starts off well for Escolinha. FaZe trying one of their classics, just trying to rush in, snap a kill or two. Didn't work out for them. You actually see that the impact from their own team there got Hashi killed. Opened up a line of sight. Diffuser somehow being planted, but then, wow, hates the confidence to take that swing. My, oh my. Well, still a long way to go yet, but Escolinha at least get one round back.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
And it's strange that it came from that site. We kind of spoke about how that site's a bit of a nightmare for the defenders. Both of these two teams have been able to make it work at least once. FaZe went there twice and had a 50% win ratio on there. But they won't have to worry about that site for a little while now. Down to the basement we go. This was nail-biting stuff. Again, another round that could have gone either way, Demo. We could quite easily be sat here at, you know, 5-3, 5-4. Had a couple of these clutch rounds gone in a different direction.
5 seconds to go.
FaZe really cutting it close to the wire in the previous round.
Attacker's objective is to defuse
You think
a
back
bomb.
to Cyber's fantastic clutch. Cameraman had dropped in, planted the kit. Cyber was able to hold from above. Don't really want to be relying on those sort of rounds to get it over the line.
Still plenty of rounds that FaZe have to see out this game. I wonder if it's going to be another 7-2 scoreline, Ollie. It seems to be the only way these matches go between these two sides, the 7-2s. And we're going to have another one, the fourth one between these sides. It will be this basement now. Last time it was a very classic kitchen dirt from FaZe. I wonder if they're going to stick to that same formula or maybe change things up. We've seen much more of a triple wall oriented attack from Escolinha whenever they were attacking this bomb site. I think just the fact that you're missing the Habana is naturally gonna... It's always gonna like be a little bit hesitant on your decision making because you have to really think about what hatches you want to open up. You just can't open all of them as easily as what you would with Habana. You really need to pick your poison.
FaZe did prioritize fairly well in the previous round. The cameraman going to move in here and get an exothermic down onto the kitchen hatch.
That'll be impact.
Look to be prepped for an impact, but say again, it's going to be impact regardless.
Bomb has been located.
Narrowly dodges out there as well as the floor gets opened inside of kitchen hall. Cameraman going to go for another attempt here. It might not be enough. Hates is going to be below, and there's more impacts than there are exothermics. It's very, very simple math. That kitchen hatch is proving a big problem this time for FaZe.
Yeah, naturally, I think this is what you expect to see whenever a ban is banned. We've seen FaZe had no intention of going for any kind of impact tricking on towards that kitchen hatch, but certainly Escolinha, they're making it work, and it just shows the strength of a Habana ban. I mean, they banned it. They were obviously going to play this formula. They were going to play this way. And FaZe really struggling now. They don't have a lot of options. It looks to me maybe blue is going to be their entrance down. But then you're dropping hatches into a crossfire being held by, well, 2, maybe 3 people could hold this crossfire. I'm not sure, but it's going to be very, very tricky. This is a make or break, I think, for FaZe. If they can get into blue successfully, and Astro will find 1 kill, and he even gets it down onto the second. So all of a sudden, FaZe, I was saying that maybe not in the greatest of positions. They've actually made it work really well for themselves.
Look at him go. They're picking up kill after kill. Cons, he's left with a pistol in hand. Finds himself 2, but they are merely a consolation prize at that point. Final kill is going to fly on in. FaZe, 7-2 on our first map of Clubhouse. Really, really dishing out the pain there. In what was a round that didn't look very straightforward, Demo, they struggled to get kitchen hatch open. You could maybe, you know, if FaZe had lost that round, I'd be sat here questioning their prioritization of not ripping open the whole floor with Buck before attempting to get those exothermic charges off. There were a couple of things maybe if you were nitpicking that they could have done better to give themselves a better chance. But if you're all just going to funnel down blue anyway, and you've got LMGs and you've got Astro and Ash leading a charge, you come up with a ton of kills. No strategy in the world can fight back against that.
It was just gun skill. That's all it was in that final round. You just brute force your way through all of that utility. You seen the concrete barriers just constantly being replaced and replaced. It was a never-ending supply, but then it was the breakthrough coming in from Cameraman on that Ash, leading the charge, and just everyone else that just followed from that. FaZe, it just shows that the gun skill, all 5 of them we know are capable of that. They're one of the very few rosters you can look at and think any 5 of them could be entry if they wanted to.
They really could. They have got that level of skill, and I love to see it. We're going to hit a very short break. After that, we'll be back with our desk to break that game down and to set us up for our next map inside of this best of 3, which is going to be Oregon. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ, तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ पिलानी है। किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते, क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता वो बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना, कि हमारा अब लोकल जी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे 4 बजे तक आज हम दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिला। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
Welcome back, everyone. It's Jackie Jing, it's Jesse, it's Jacob, it's the Triple J's, and we are talking about FaZe stomping Escolinha. That was a rough map 1 Clubhouse for them, for sure. I mean, Jacob, honestly, FaZe just looked very, very strong in defense, and that undoubtedly helped with their victory.
Yeah, they just looked super comfortable in that first half, and I feel like that carried over into the second, even when it looked like there were some chances for them to claw things back, and then Cyber just kind of does some Cyber things, and there's a couple of clutches in there to close the map out, but it's mostly because of how that first half went. It was a 5-1, and based on how like the first 5 rounds went, I said, if we somehow see FaZe Clan go up 5-1 on the first half, I don't really think there's a chance for Escolinha to come back. Honestly, given the way that they played, if they had been able to win round 6, it might still even have been over from that point because Escolinha did not really have that much skin in the game. The timing of the flanks for FaZe Clan was like essentially perfect. They understood when they needed to make these late rotates and to throw Escolinha off their game, and it was done very, very well for the first. And by the time we even got to the second half, it's kind of like it didn't even matter at that point.
Yeah, and Jesse, we heard Jacob talk about Cyber a little bit. I mean, Cyber was really leading the charge for FaZe. What stood out to you about his performance?
I mean, what didn't? Just main character energy from Cyber all throughout this game. And for the first 5 rounds, he either died first in the opening engagement or he got 3 kills and basically won the entire round for his team. Then round 6, he also had a 2K huge clutch to start off that second half as well, denying the plant from inside a kitchen, then just buying enough time so the other player couldn't go down and disable. Cyber had a crazy play here, and I mean, that's kind of expected, right? When you are that kind of roaming player, you're going to get into a lot of those early fights, but when you can live, you can get back to site, you can clutch it up, and yeah, there are very few players in this game that are as enjoyable to watch as Cyber, so I'm glad he got to go off today.
Yeah, really great performance. Let's talk about Oregon, though. That is Escolinha's pick. Jacob, I mean, I hope they turn it around here. It is their pick, so how are you feeling? Hopeful for them? Or you're like, no, FaZe got this?
I mean, I don't necessarily think FaZe looked that dominant, despite it being a 7-2 score. I do think there are some moments that very obviously sloppy. You can clean some of those things up. You don't want to put that many people into clutch situations as often as you did. So I feel like if Escolinha play maybe a little bit more of a stringent game, that might be the kind of thing that FaZe Clan can't counter as effectively, especially when we move on to defense on that side. But because that's where FaZe Clan are going to be starting, I feel like that already does kind of put Escolinha in a disadvantage, even though it's their map pick.
Yeah.
So to me, it might be something that's a little bit too far to come back from. Escolinha do have a chance, assuming they're able to weather just the first half of Oregon. And if they do, then we'll talk about it from there. But if FaZe Clan gets out to a really quick lead like they did in map 1, then this one's probably over really fast.
I think it's gonna be really tough. Like, I think the first series was close because like Escolinha and Bubu could kind of hide their map pool a little bit. They were a real unknown quantity, but now like they've already had to ban out a lot of the maps that they played in the first series. They were more pigeonholed this ban phase, so you know they had to play on Clubhouse they didn't like. They come to Oregon now, but I'm still definitely gonna be cautious for them, especially if they have to start on attack. That's gonna be so hard to come out strong with.
All right, well, let's see how Map 2 Oregon goes and go down to the Cyberpunk basement with Ollie and Demo. Beep-boop, take us away. Take us to Ollie and Demo. Woo.
Jackie, thank you very much indeed. Let's get stuck into our second map here tonight. FaZe versus Escolinha de Bubu. Looking forward to getting stuck into this one, Demo. We are going to be headed over to Oregon. Oregon, of course, you know, Oregon and Club, so bread and butter for a best of 3 series, right? This is a big throwback.
It's what you kind of used to see in a more of a tier 3 level, isn't it? These have been like the 2 most common maps to be played, in the past 6 years since really esports has always been these 2 maps, and it's still here today. And I think for good reason, it's always going to be maps that teams can rely on and fall back onto. I think Escolinha, a new side, will be happy to play both of these maps. But like we mentioned before, you may be able to play, you know, a good Clubhouse or a good Oregon, but a more experienced side like FaZe, they can play a great Clubhouse and a great Oregon.
Absolutely. Let's see what we get in terms of bans. Flores, the first to be removed. Flores ban's becoming a lot more popular. Obviously, we've commented on it a little bit yesterday when we were going through the NA games demo. Flora's such a handy tool to deal with this extra soak that the defenders have now got. You think of Azami, you think of Goyo pockets, everything that you want to be dealing with, it's so pressured onto those throwables. It's pressured onto burn, it's pressured onto nades. Remove the Floras from the equation. Somewhat eases that for the defenders. And the flip side, you get it a little bit easier as an attacker, especially if you remove a Wamai.
One thing I think you have to remember about Flores and just how potent he can be is not only does he get the ability, obviously, you know, the actual gadget to explode deployable shields, any bit of utility, but he also has flashbangs as well, Ollie. There's a lot of operators that we see be brought on a regular basis. It's going to give you not only explosive damage, but also the flashes as well. Who's the only other person you can think of that would give you both?
Flashes and explosives.
Yeah.
Zafir.
Why? How would she give you flashes?
Attackers need to locate.
You got the lifeline. It's similar to.
Or are
a
you just
flash.
using it? Or are you talking as it in like burns? Are you going?
Yeah, I was talking about it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, right, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Who else?
Somebody like. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a difficult question because I feel like you've already decided that there's not very many people that do it.
No, there's not that many. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's a potent combination of having that burn alongside being able to clear utility with explosives. You know, it's really, really handy to use. You know, even using the drones to open up like an Ash charge or a Sophia launcher, you know, you can hop onto a wall, a soft wall, and open it up. You know, that's another feature that Flores can do. He's very, very flexible in that department.
What about if you brought a recruit demo?
Can't pick recruit.
What if you brought a recruit with
Pick it.
flashes and nades or flashes and C4s?
You can't do that no more.
Those were the days, eh?
It was indeed back in the day whenever you had the 2-speed shields. Remember those?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fun. But gone are those days. Look at this lineup.
He's managed to like get this so that they're on defense here.
What do you mean? Like, the fact that they've got the side choice?
FaZe
Or
have had side
just not
choice
given
in
it?
like the last. It feels like FaZe have had good side choice in the last 2 games. Like they had defense first on club because Escolinha would have chosen attack, and I'm not sure why. And now we flip round here, and they've got defense again. I mean, it's not done anything for them in this opening engagement. Cameraman's just been slammed out of upstairs.
Let me see. On Oregon, it was Escolinha wanted to go attack. They had the choice, so they've wanted to go on the attack first off. I mean, I don't really think it matters too heavily on Oregon what side you want to go with. I think both teams, you know, you're gonna have to play both of them quite well. So looking at Escolinha and their setup, you've got a very potent final execute. You've got Capitao and you have Ying. We know those 2 operators can be very dominant on Oregon. I mean, 2 operators that we see sometimes associated with FaZe. For example, if you can get the utility burned and make sure that these Candelas are not going to be chewed up by any ADSs that may be lurking, it can be a really strong operator that you can have just to flood into a bomb site. You think about Oregon, these rooms are very small, Ollie. They can cover a wide coverage. You know, just those Candelas get popped out, no one is safe.
Absolutely. And, you know, the same can be said for some of the defender utility as well. I'm kind of surprised to not see FaZe choosing to run the Goyo. I think this is probably Goyo's best site, especially in conjunction with smoke, and you start thinking about choke points, things of that nature. You can really start to run a team down on time. Speaking of time, though, 35 seconds left to go. The defenders still have a lot to be working with here. They've got a lot of the utility. Finally, we're going to see Candelas come in. Off the back of that, though, what is realistically going to happen? Astro, he's happy to sit there and wait. He's activated his glasses, and he is not going to be concerned about being flashed out at all. Hachi, he's going to take out Bullet. Astro makes good on the Warden. He's able to find one in return. Cyber has been downed and will be attempted to be picked up here as Souls goes for the revive, but the plant is going to be going down. There's a ton of information available, but FaZe can't act on it. The plant has been successful. They have a player to deal with inside of Freezer. He will be dealt with very swiftly by Souls. But it's allowed Escolinha to make that rotation. Cons going to try and get himself into Freezer as well. Hate stood inside a cubby. He can find these for free. Picks up one and the second. Great opener from Escolinha.
A great double kill there in the final few seconds of the round. Escolinha, you look at how that attack went, it was almost like a full bait ollie. You had one player in the backside trying to pressure in towards that electrical hatch, and then everyone else going in towards Laundry and Freezer, and FaZe just kind of got their priorities wrong. They put a lot more players towards the backside of the bomb site, where in reality they should have had more people at the front. Great bait and switch from Escolinha, caused a lot of panic with that Ying coming in. And from there, I think Hashi just coming in through Freezer with that LMG. You see that every day of the week from the Finka. Yeah, good attack. Very, very solid game plan.
You don't often see a Laundry Freezer work, really. And there's multiple reasons for that. One of them being if Mirror's available, you probably ought to be playing Mirror downstairs. That can be really difficult to then gain any ground in Freezer and Laundry, depending on where you choose to play them. You can choose to play one looking into each of those rooms. And of course with the Goyo as well, you can secure somewhat inside a bunker, and you can make basement very defensible, especially with the bans that are available here to work with.
5 seconds to go.
FaZe not looking to give it another go downstairs. Instead, going to rotate up onto that top floor. See if they can try their luck here. But a great start from Escolinha. Maybe that's one of the reasons, one of many reasons why they have opted to start off on the attack here. Happy to pick themselves up a round or two. You don't need to have so much success on the attack of Oregon. Typically, 2 or 3 rounds will do it.
So, FaZe kind of says a lot to their character, the fact that they're not going to attempt the basement again, just clear the slate, back to an upstairs site now for them. You kind of look at the upstairs compared to the basement. It's so different, isn't it? There isn't a lot of room to roam on towards the basement site. But I think upstairs you have to roam. You have to try and hold some kind of foothold in towards the mid floor. May that be a kitchen hold. May that be even an extension in towards a meeting. Maybe trying to hold in towards attic. You need to do something to put pressure onto the attackers. And FaZe are going to do just that. They have one player tucked inside of security. Both those walls reinforced, Ollie. We don't see that happen all too often. Usually it's one of them's reinforced and then the other one has a rotate hole. But yeah, they're just going to just hunker down inside security, and Cameron's just going to see what he can do.
Cameron can play there quite happily as well, in the knowledge that, you know, someone's got to come and get rid of him, otherwise he's going to be a very potent threat later on into the round. Drones are going to be working in and around in there. He will remove the drone from Vita, but he's happy to stay there. He's got the shotgun, so no real pressure from above. That is, of course, the site. The hatch is going to be soft. First nade does swing out and miss. Maybe they're assuming that he's dropped out of there. Hashi gives himself an adrenal surge. Cameraman just trying to get as far into that corner as he possibly can. He's tanked a second nade there. He's not going to be able to do that very many more times. Burning a ton of time here, though. And he's soaked up a little bit of utility. Hate, he's just going to be holding the angle should that rotation come through, but honestly, Cameraman's not being given a reason to move right now. He can just happily sit there for the time being. Cons is going to be on that double window. There's going to have to be a push that starts to come from somewhere. Leaving Cameraman all alone downstairs. He's going to be allowed to rotate out of security for free, pretty much, should he wish. Hates going to come into an engagement here with Bullet. Shuts him down instantly. That's going to be a huge kill. Cameraman has tanked yet another throwable downstairs. But Hates is going to be coming in through the trophy side. Finds one onto Cyber. Pops the nade into Pit. This is shaping up to be a flawless as the plant goes down. Astro desperately trying to search out for where that is. He's going to be taken down as well. Cameraman hits 2 air jabs. That's exactly why they were happy to leave him down there. They knew exactly what was going to become him should he make his way out of security. Flawless round for Escolinha. Great attack.
Not too often we see a full 5v5 30-second execute on an Oregon Kids defense, Ollie. let alone a flawless attack. That's unheard of. When's the last time you've seen this kind of round happen, where everyone was still alive at 30 seconds and attackers with, to be honest, very little to go off? You looked at some of the positionings. I think that first kill that happened for Hates on the Armory Stairs, if he didn't make that happen, I don't think Escolinha have the same dominant performance that they just had there in that round. I think that was very important. You leave that Goyo alive inside a trophy. He kills anyone trying to move in through White Stairs, shuts down that diffuser as it gets planted.
Great round from Escolinha by all accounts. As you mentioned, the game sense to just move and make something happen there. Recognize Cameraman's not going to leave security. He's just going to stay there for as long as he can. And we can let him have it and just air jab him out at the last second. Bit of a change up for FaZe then. Still yet to find some success here on the defense. They're going back down into the laundry. And it seems as though, I mean, I'm not going to quite say it was a prayer of mine demo, but I did sort of question, why is the mirror not being brought? This time we're going to see a mirror. One of them has been played upstairs. It's just been spotted out on the drone there by Hates. Curious to see where the other one has been positioned. Either going to be looking into Freezer or it's going to be looking into laundry, I would imagine.
You see that extension, of course, over across towards that top floor. So you see that FaZe are really committing now to a different tone compared to where they were at last time. So it is very focused and trying to deny access just clearly in towards meeting. It's just how do Escolinha want to approach that? All over the place, scattered you could say, in terms of how they can set up for refrags, and it looks like not even they know how they want to approach this all. I think they need more information before they really commit to it. Cameraman just drops off, not wanting to linger any longer, feeling a bit of pressure. So at least for the meantime, they have secured the control of the top floor, but they don't know that. They still want to be fair with their drone work. Get the drones moving in. FaZe happy enough to give up that control. They've done their time waste, and they can start moving into the more anchor-orientated position. As if they're on a bit of a ghost hunt, realistically, Ollie, aren't they? Nobody's here.
FaZe are definitely playing this one a lot differently to the first round. You can tell they don't want to slip by 3. That would be a pretty disastrous start to any phase of any map, regardless of attack or defense. But it makes sense. Basement's powerful. It's very defensible. You've got to let these attackers burn the time, and there's a very belt and braces approach to make sure that every single corner was cleared there from Escolinha. Now that they've got that control, they can start to try and work on some of these problems. There's going to be hatches that need opening. Hates, he's going to rotate himself round to bunker. He knows exactly what's going to be the other side of that partly broken barricade. Cyber already with the Toxic Babe canisters, trying to cut off anybody that wants to drop into electrical. It's a good time to start using them. 35 seconds, you're going to be able to cut out a large portion of the round. Cameraman, he's going to lose his shield in Freezer. He's got a very important gunfight ahead of him, though. He's going to get swung on there by Hashi. He will fall, but kills elsewhere have gone in both directions. FaZe currently 3 versus 1 as Hashi, he gets smoked out. Final kill being credited to Cyber. It was, of course, his Toxic Babe canister as well that forced Hashi to make that push through Freezer. FaZe happy to sit on their hands there. I remember an interview once with Cameraman. I'm not sure if you recall, Demo, but he said, sometimes teams just need to know when to take their hands off their keyboards. And you just get the feeling that that was the call at the start of that round. Let's not move too much. Let's just stay where we are and let them come to us.
Yeah, you look at FaZe and how they adapted that time. They got caught out in the basement before because they didn't apply enough pressure towards Freezer and Laundry. This time, just one small change. You whack a mirror window on Laundry and it just solves all your issues. That's literally how you define that round. Just one extra layer of a defense. No problems. Just a very strong operator.
Well, now they've got a different problem to solve. They've got to figure out exactly how to deal with Escolinha's attack onto that top floor.
5 seconds left.
And we know that Escolinha haven't showed us their entire hand here. We know that they've got it in them to mix things up and maybe start to go for more of a games room push or put a bit of pressure in onto Attic. But the approach that worked for them previously was this west side clear, getting themselves into small tower, moving through, trying to deal with any roamers that were present inside of kitchen and dining, and then a last second rotation up those armory stairs, which was really the finishing blow. Look at the lineup that they're bringing this time. They have got the Maverick. One of Maverick's great strengths is going to be opening up that attic wall, and with the focus and the drone work that's currently going on, you'd anticipate that that's maybe something that is on Escolina's to-do list.
Has to get the drone work in. Has to make sure everything is going to be covered off. It's all about the flanks. We know FaZe, they're a team where if they see an opportunity only to go for a flank, they'll take it every day of the week. They favored C4s quite a lot this series so far as well. Only one, though. Bullet has the C4. Jammer gone. Main wall opened up. So that's a good start from Escolina. That's kind of step one completed. Open up that main breach. But now they need to start looking for picks. Oh, they need to start trying to weaken this defense. You cannot allow FaZe to have a 5-man hold on towards the kid's bedroom site. Also looking to work in towards attic. So kind of run-of-the-mill Oregon attack ollie. There's nothing here that I think will catch FaZe by surprise. But Escolina, if they do everything correctly, if they play their cards right, they should be able to win a successful round just using this attack, because it is so easy and it's very, very strong. We know that.
It's a straightforward approach. It's not as straightforward to execute on. Astro going to pick himself up a great opener onto Hashi. Vitiking, next player to fall. Souls is coming under a bit of pressure from that kid's rappel. Hates will find one back in return. That was Astro below, but Cyber is going to be there for the refrag. Has he got the patience to really pull this off? He's going to be going up against Hates here. Hates activated his silent step. Finds himself a freebie. A little bit of hesitation there. You almost wondered, is that a teammate? Is it a clone? What is going on? He pulls the trigger, but he's still got a long way to go. 1 versus 3 now. I doubt he's going to be able to truly break all of these engagements down. He doesn't even get past the first bullet. Just a slight off position there inside of Master. Just hidden in behind the bed. Hates knew it was worth a check, but I don't think he was fully anticipating to be fired upon as soon as he crossed the door.
I think FaZe have done really well to come back after those first 2 rounds, because let's be honest, although the first 2 rounds were very convincing on the side of Escolina, FaZe really had no shot in those first 2 rounds. So it's good to see FaZe have adapted to it. They've played different strategies on each time now that they've replayed those bomb sites. So credit to FaZe, they've adapted very well. And we've always talked about FaZe, Ollie. They know every trick in the book. They are a very long-standing roster. They didn't make any roster changes so far inside of the stage. They're ready to play again in stage 2 with the same lineup. And I think obviously you look at the kind of split that FaZe had. Not making it into a major, we know, was a huge disappointment after what this side has been able to do in the past 6 months. But I don't think it would warrant a change. We know LATAM roster changes are not as frequent compared to other regions. We know that. And I think, you know, the big teams like FaZe, NIP, Liquid, whenever a change happens, it doesn't just happen within 3 months. You know, it's a big, long-standing process where it has to be over multiple tournaments, multiple stages, where we can really pinpoint and say, okay, yeah, maybe a change is needed.
Ooh, bit of early aggression there. Flo not really too sure where he was being shot from. Just took a stray bullet. FaZe just letting them know that we're here. We're waiting for you. We're happy to receive. They've gone for potentially one of the less popular sites here. Fitzking going to pick himself up a free opener. There's actually a plant going down already. Demo, we've seen 45 seconds and already Hates inside of the kitchen. That plant will be confirmed. The second kill onto FaZe coming in before Cyber is in position to respond. Bullet, you are in sight. He is behind you. How has that kill been allowed? Hashi, you have been done dirty by your teammate there, I'm afraid. Hates Let's one slip. Could it be crucial? Hates, 2 will be taken down. Cyber, downed in process. Souls, now got 2 players to find. 1 on either side of flags, and he knows it. Going to be getting heavily pressured here as he goes for the swing, tries for the flick, but is unsuccessful. FaZe being taken advantage of there. Bit of a surprise rush out of nowhere for Escolinha, and it's proved to provide them with a round.
I've seen it a few times on that third bomb site choice, looking towards primarily, of course, that this meeting and kitchen hold is defense actually let the kitchen control slip quite easily. In a few times where there's maybe been one guy holding in towards green, and that really doesn't scare away all the attackers. They know they can just trade back and forth, and then they have access to kitchen. Maybe it's something that's worth looking at just across maybe every region, that kitchen needs to be somewhat fortified. Maybe a prox alarm, something, maybe a thorn, anything, just to let you know that they're inside kitchen. Just don't let them go in through that green hall as easily as what I think's been happening over the past couple of months.
Well, FaZe are now looking to try and salvage this by all accounts.
5 seconds left.
4-2 splits the attackers. Wouldn't be anything to be proud of.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
But a 3-3 for the defenders. They could look to salvage this. Previously, they played a very passive play style on this basement. First time they attempted it, they didn't bring a mirror. They tried to roam, and it just didn't really work for them. Second time, they were happy to bring the mirror, and they were happy to make that work, and it really did help them. But another rush, back-to-back rush rounds here. How is this going on? Astro, right place, right time. You might have a blitz, my friend, but Astro has some very fancy goggles, and that is not going to affect him at all. Escolinha, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. You will not get away with 2 rush rounds in a row.
Is it bad if I'm going to correct you with the saying that you said? Fool me once, it's fool me once, shame on you, Ollie.
No, fool me once, shame on me.
No.
You knew what I was getting at.
Yeah, they tried the rush again, and it's a blue one. It's a classic. FaZe are going to be ready for that. Of course they're going to be ready for that. Everyone's always ready for that. And yeah, Escolinha, we're in good shape there, Ollie, to maybe get 4-2 half and really spur them on. But because they went for another rush, it's backfired on them, so they walk away with an even split. I would say this is fairly standard for what we're seeing in Oregon at the moment. So now it just comes down to see how FaZe want to go about their attacks.
I feel like Escolinha maybe were anticipating a little bit of a different setup there before they decided the rush. I know that attacker repick is a thing, and they could have seen that there was no mirror and made a plan off the back of it. But I think they just got a little bit bloodthirsty. They were like, yeah, that last rush round was perfect. I know what we'll do. We'll double down. We'll throw a blitz into the mix, and we'll really try and get something happening here. And it just didn't quite work. It fell very flat. I was a little bit worried when I saw the lack of a mirror for FaZe in that round. I was thinking, oh, we could be about to just see a replay of round number 1 and the way that that worked out. FaZe maybe need to count their lucky stars a little bit there. Good information there for Astro on the drone. A nice one that's hidden on one of the beams inside of tower. This is a great example and a great view of how these opening nade kills come through. That early drone information. If you can place that drone in a good spot in the prep phase, you can pick yourself up a freebie off the back of it. It's invaluable. Cyber, he's just decided to Terminator his way through meeting. Not a big deal. It's just one of the things that he can do when he has the LMG and Finker. Very quickly. 45 seconds seen. Already 3 players down for Escolinha.
And not a good start for them. So much time for FaZe. They can just toy with their food at this stage, can't they, Ollie? They can go anywhere that they want to. 2v5. Not going to be an easy task for Cons and Vita King. Cyber, just waiting for the call, I think, for this rush maybe just to come in. I think they're all going to try and hit the site at the same time. On 6, and here they go. Straight down into blue. Souls will find Cons, and Vita all by himself, who will find two. Take down with him to the grave, but cameraman, we'll see to him eventually. Not the greatest of starts, not the greatest of defenses from Escolinha. I think some things can be tightened up there. You don't need to play as aggressive as what that was right there.
No, the aggression is starting to become a little bit of a problem from Escolinha, isn't it?
Especially whenever that nade kill happened. Like, that's the first kill. Those other two should just be gone straight away.
Yeah. This is when you can start to see a team just get a little bit too ahead of themselves, a little bit too overconfident. You do worry for them that if that just turns into a, well, we're just going to try and frag our way through this game. Against a team like FaZe, they're going to punish you for that. Going to be opting for a slightly different tact, going for more of the time control and time burn. Hashi placing out his Goyo pockets. Got a couple in some hot spots, one in freezer, one near the default plant spot, and then one at the entrance to bunker.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Most of which can be dealt with, if we're being honest, but it's still going to cause the flame effect. It's still going to cut off that area for a good 25 seconds. I'd be really concerned about this opening pick because we know that FaZe's information can be extremely good. And already there's yellow pings getting dotted around. You just know that they're framing up for something.
Very patient whenever they want to be. Other times, Ollie, we know FaZe have some wild tendencies, we'll say, where they can just go off the rails. They don't really know what is going to happen to them or what they're going to do. But whenever they need to, they can slow it down and play that more structured play style. So what we always say about FaZe, you know, they can play any kind of siege. So flexible in their play styles.
Yeah, anybody can play onto anything as well. There's no real hard and fast rules. You look at Bullet, Cyber, and Astro as a trio.
They must be so difficult to prep for. They have to be. Like, on an international stage, how do coaches prep for this?
Yeah, what do you prepare for?
They can do any number of things. There's no set, like, entry patterns. I see, you know, a different opening kill from FaZe nearly every round sometimes, Ollie. You just don't know who's going to strike.
Sounds like you're a fan of this team demo.
What gave you that impression?
Are you a little bit of a FaZe fan?
Not after yesterday.
Are we phasing up?
Not after yesterday.
I'm phasing up right now. I hope you are.
Nope.
Astro's got himself into a great spot here. You just know that someone's going to be playing on the pillar as well. The utility starting to get burnt. Goyo will be doing his job. Bullet, great opener over onto floor. Astro with the nade as well. What a shot. Two good ones, in fact, in response. Souls is going to be inside of the site. Picks himself up one. They know that there's still likely going to be a player on bunker. Souls is searching for more. He's not going to have the right target prioritization. Was just too preoccupied with the mirror, and it allows Hates to pick himself up a freebie. 50 seconds, 2 versus 2. Cameraman recovered the diffuser. Toxic Babes are going to cut off any entrance through bunker. There's still going to be a player inside of elbow and another inside of the supply closet. Both can look to try and back one another up here. And with Toxic Babes still yet to be deployed, that final one going out, it's not going to leave a great deal of time for Bullet to be working with here. Gets caught in the Banshee. That's an audio cue that almost certainly will be heard. Cyber drops the kit. Knows that he's got the LMG and needs to try and take these engagements. C4 primed and ready from Hates. Cyber, starved of information. The C4, it's a little bit short. It's not going to hit onto its mark. Cyber, what do? Do you challenge the mirror window? You've got to do something here. Bullet, he's going to go for the swing. Gets taken down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Cyber, you've got to pre-fire the corner, and he's going to do just that, Demo. 2 headshots to finish it off. Cyber, another clutch.
What a day he's having, Ollie. My goodness, Cyber. The Rock. He could be a boulder with how huge he's playing right now, Ollie. So many things going on that round. So we've seen the Goyo canisters. I mentioned before, Ollie, by far Goyo's best site. In any map, this is his best site. There are 2 players who just seem they caught in it a few times. I think Cameraman and the Nomad inside of Bunker got caught out. We've seen Souls and Habana, he got caught out. I will touch on Souls. He's done really well to actually tank a lot of the flame damage to get himself into supply. Kills the Goyo, has done extremely well. But then he goes for a play, which he should not have done. You looked at the positioning from the remaining 2 players on Escolinha. You had one player tucked inside Laundry, which did kill Souls as he over-aggressed, and the other one stuck in blue. They knew the player was stuck in blue. There was about a minute to go. The other 2 players on FaZe were stuck outside a bunker because that canister from Goyo was still going off. Souls just needs to chill out. He just needs to slow down. Like you said, Ollie, sit in your hands, don't move. Because if he dies, then all that hard work to gain side control is gone. It is gone. And you can't be relying on Cyber doing what he's just done every round.
Anybody can clutch on the side of FaZe, and they can play in the knowledge of knowing that. Souls, I agree. I think he did a fantastic job. And it's difficult when you find yourself in the middle of the site, because what do? Do you move forward and try and pick up another? Or do you retreat and risk getting shot in the back? You know, you can't just walk backwards. You need to be aware of your surroundings. Cyber certainly on a bit of a tear today, though. He's had some magnificent rounds.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Got to be one that stings for Escolinha as well. Well, FaZe, they're not showing any signs of slowing down.
Nope.
They've got another job to do. Another round, another site. Upstairs is where they're going to turn their attention. We've already been able to get the games room wall open. Seen around a minute, so good progress for the time being. A lot of info available for them as well. You can see yellow pings kicking off there. They know that somebody's going to be occupying that tower area. Just going to play Cyber on the breach for the time being, but it's going to be Bullet credited with that first kill. Attempting the nade through the drone hole, as we've seen him do before, but this time Hates is just a little bit far back. That's one way to deal with somebody playing inside of security, is just to Candela them out of there. That's probably Cameraman's worst nightmare when he was here only a handful of rounds ago. With the plank going down under the cover of Cyber, Cameraman, he knows that somebody's inside of Z corridor, and he's just going to wait for his time. Bullet picks up the final kill. A flawless round from FaZe. They are looking unstoppable, Demo. Match and series point.
Getting kills for fun. Escolinha. Is the tank out? A lot of gas?
Fuel station stop.
It's going to cost you a lot these days.
It would. But it's sometimes cheaper just to get a new car.
Buy it with a full tank of gas. Oh, Escolinha, where do you go? 3 defenses in a row, all lost. FaZe, look, it's so strong. And now FaZe, they have that big buffer zone again. You know, they can afford to lose rounds if they want to. I doubt they will, just with how they've attacked some of these rounds. How are Escolinha going to change things up? They will now head back downstairs. They were really reliant on the Goyo canisters helping them out. I think that caused FaZe a couple of issues. I would like to see, I think, Escolinha don't play into FaZe's, you know, attack strategy. Play it safe. Just control the flow. You have the canisters. If at any point these players from Escolinha feel pressure, pop the canister, pop a smoke, pop a C4. Whatever it is, just to keep yourself safe. I think that's been the biggest issue for Escolinha, is keep themselves safe.
It's easier said than done, especially when you look to how FaZe have been so aggressive in the early part of the rounds. I mean, look at Cyber. Gone 16 open a barricade. Drone already working at his feet. This top floor is going to get called as clear pretty soon. Belt and braces just checking into attic. FaZe are moving with a level of confidence. Calling for things to be open. Cyber already with the pre-fire. He knows if anyone's skulking down those stairs, I want to have the jump on him. I want to be getting that pre-fire out, dealing any damage I can, and letting them know that I am there.
It's a good angle to have. Good flank watch. So obviously FaZe bringing in an operator to help them with the room clear out. That Dokkaebi makes an appearance. No bulletproof cameras on the side of Escolinha. Maybe that's another thing that Escolinha's been missing out on, Ollie, is information. Lacking bulletproofs. Valkyrie, as we know, was open. I think, to be fair, even FaZe didn't really go for much information. I think most of the teams were trying to gain that from kind of active information from the mirror windows. So if that's how they want to play it, then so be it. But I think a bulletproof camera never hurts sometimes. Never hurts.
Nade down the hatch there to remove any utility. Further nade from Astro, just to make sure that there's going to be no Banshee that's going to slow him down. Cyber going to make his approach down the laundry stairs as well. Another nade comes out from Astro, who was successful previously with that, but not this time. Cyber just going to catch the door frame with his nade attempt. Not ideal. Still 2 in the hands of Bullet. Needs to get himself into position to use it. Cyber's covered nearly every inch of the map at this point. He's just thirsty to get this done. So focused on the round. Cameraman looking to burn out into Freezer now as well. Cyber has joined Bullet here inside a bunker. They know there's going to be a Goyo to deal with. They know there's Toxic Babe canisters, but Escolinha, they're doubling down. They're not risking just the Goyo to deny. They're going to use the Toxic Babe smoke as well. Only 1 canister remains with Cons. Bullet sends his clone through. Bit of a switch. Astro could be looking toward electrical hatch to see if he can get something done there, but Cameraman's going to get cut down. Hates had the angle on him there. Cyber fearlessly powers on through, juices himself up after taking significant damage, but Hachi is going to trade out onto Astro. Cyber just misses out there at the player inside a corridor, but Bullet is going to be there. Picks himself up, a beautiful 2 kills as Flow is caught looking the wrong way. 3 versus 2, 8 seconds, diffuser cold. Cyber has to find this final kill. He was closer than he will ever realize. Bullet swinging around the corner to do the same. There's 1 second on the clock, Demo. The final 2 kills come in. Escolinha hang in for 1 more round.
Oh, H has no idea how lucky he is. I would have loved to have seen his perspective, Ollie, because surely he would have thought, I'm dead here, because there's just that barrage of bullets from Cyber's LMG. My goodness, another scrappy round, and this time it's Escolinha who will come out on top, Ollie. They controlled a lot better, didn't they? They were using the Toxic Babes in a better fashion. They were using the Flames. They didn't allow FaZe to have that same prowess. They really put FaZe under pressure. You know, FaZe are feeling the pressure of that clock slowly tick down, and they have to try and run in, make these plays. But my goodness, just Hates hanging in there. That's all you can say.
Sometimes all you've got to do is try and melt yourself into the wall. Those moments where you see the nade icon at your feet and you're just pressing that D key, trying to get further back into the wall and just melt away into the environment. You get the feeling Hates was doing just exactly that there, just hoping that that corner could become a little bit bigger so he could get a bit further tucked in a way. Skin of his teeth stuff. Impressive, given the fact that FaZe moved so quickly. Escolinha were able to hold them off for so long. It was quite a frantic round. FaZe were looking to get it done fairly quickly. Flo gets away with it there as Cameraman was wasting no time, was he? Straight into tier 3.
I think even Flo looked at it and said, hold on a minute, was that an Amara? I think he'd done the double take, didn't he? He was like, did I hear that? Is that right? Doesn't want to stay around to find out if it's true or not. So that is big tower control for the meantime for FaZe. I mean, last time FaZe just kind of steamrolled through this bomb site, didn't they, Ollie? There was no real opportunity for Escolinha to do anything. But FaZe, as flexible as ever in terms of their operator lineup. We've seen the Yin come in last time. Now we're seeing an Amari, for goodness sake, just all over the place. Mute Jammer will be eliminated, so that gives free access to the Thermite to move in. Open up that main breach. Cyber getting nades tossed in also. So just the general utility clear, maybe find some picks if they can. Bullet has been the kind of lurker, hasn't he, so far this game? For FaZe, he's been by himself, droning himself in a lot of the times also, which sometimes can be risky, Ollie. Whenever you're on those drones, you never know, you could get flanked at the same time. Many a times have we seen somebody on a drone and they've been shot from behind while they were on it. Such a few things that Bullet needs to be worrying about, but we know the caliber of that player. I'm sure he's well aware of that.
For all the speed and aggression that FaZe are bringing to this, they're not gaining all too much at the moment. We've got Souls inside a Master. Nobody on big window right now, though. Cons is essentially a freebie to anyone that would be. Vita, going to pick one up onto Bullet. Catches him lacking downstairs, just as he was about to approach into that security hallway at the bottom of White Stairs. For all that cameraman Amaru'd into tier 3, he's not really done anything with it, as he's 2 outside of that White Stairs window. It's going to be Cyber instead to make an approach up and try and take control of Attic. Has been left soft, so it's a vulnerability that Escolinha should be aware of. Immediately,
swing.
Hashi with the swing. Make the play or the player makes you. You've got to try those things. This Valkyrie is providing a heck of a lot of information as Vita picks up his second, takes cameraman down on those White Stairs, and leaves Souls and Astro in the clutch. 30 seconds left to go and still so much to do. It's going to be Hates. Picks one off from Long, and Astro, 20 seconds, what can he do here? Everybody knows where he is. He knows he's going to get swung from the small closet. It's a matter of where's the first swing going to come from. Tries to secure himself a kill to pad his stats, but can't even manage that. Flo keeps his teammate alive, picks up that final kill, puts Escolinha 1 round closer to leveling this thing up.
Well, this will be quite the comeback if they manage to secure it. Just a bit of information from the Valkyrie cameras goes a long, long way. What's happened to FaZe? I think that around there in the kids attack, no real indication of what they wanted to go for. They were really relying on a couple of picks coming in, but Escolinha were giving FaZe absolutely nothing. However, this is the make or break, Ollie. We head to the third bomb site.
Defenders, protect your bomb.
This is where I think Oregon has won a loss for a lot of teams. We've seen the third bomb site happen for FaZe. Didn't work for them. You know, we've seen somebody just walk in the kitchen. We're not going to be seeing the meeting, though, this time, Ollie. Instead, we're seeing the dining, the other bomb site that you can pick in Oregon. Instead of trying to hold heavily in towards Attic, now a lot more pressure is in towards the shower areas. That's what you want to try and hunker down in and hold for all your worth. So this is going to be the main area that you'll see a lot of action in. You can see, I would say probably the Warden will be the player in that position. You can block off any flashes. We know that FaZe like to bring Ying from time to time, so if Ying tries to enter in towards showers, no use.
Attackers are heading out to defuse the bomb.
There has to come a time where FaZe take this a little bit slower. I'm looking at the lineup and I'm wondering if that time is going to be now. Cameraman going to play the IQ in anticipation of that Valkyrie, or potentially just for the Echo. Cyber on the book. Souls on the Thermite. It's looking a lot more standard. We're not seeing those off picks. We're not seeing the Amaru. We're not seeing crazy things like that. It's just, right, we've had a bit of fun. Let's now get this one over the line. They don't want to risk going to an overtime and potentially a third map. FaZe, of course, successful in the first map of Clubhouse. It's a thermic charge there going to go off. The wall is going to be booked on open, but immediately Bullet is sat down. It's not even a trade demo. Hey, look at him go. Picks himself at 1. Vita comes to collect the second. Souls is left with a consolation kill. Cyber still got a long way to go here. He's just on the edge of that Toxic Babe smoke. Imagine he's probably got the skeleton key out for that sort of close range engagement, but you can't turn you back to that breach. Now that you've made it swingable, it's going to be very easy for Hate just to swing on round with that shotgun and dish out a little bit of damage. Souls, currently blasted by the Yokai. Nothing really that they can do about that, and still so much to do in that showers area. This info constantly being provided from the Yokai drones. Vita should be there if Hates doesn't get it, and that's exactly what will happen. Beautiful crossfire being held onto the showers. FaZe are almost going to stumble at the first hurdle here.
I don't know what FaZe are thinking going for that play. There's no need. Absolutely no need. This is the overconfidence of FaZe that we talk about. Yes, things have been going really well for them, but you still have to finish out the game. It's not over till it's over. And FaZe just tried something very wacky, very boisterous, and they get punished for it. We said Escolinha would have opportunities against FaZe Clan, and you have to punish them whenever FaZe go for plays like that. And Hate, who has had such a game so far, 18 kills to his name. He's pulled his team back from the brink of death, and it looks as if we're going to overtime.
It's going to be a tall order for Souls to get this one over the line. He's got the diffuser, but that's about all that he does have that's going for him. There's a vertical angle being held through the hatch, and I don't think that he's going to be aware of it. We've also got a player tucked in behind those white stairs. Cons from the hatch will dish the final blow. Cameraman calling for the timeout. They've got to do something to steady this ship.
Need to do something. Need to do something. Even splits on either side, which again was expected for Oregon. I will say that I think FaZe have definitely balled it. 3-round buffer zone looked great in the opening attacks, and then the second attacks you started getting, again, just overzealous once again, Ollie, that we've mentioned with FaZe. And yeah, now they're here. Now they're in overtime. They will get the attack. Is it going to be a first half FaZe attack where we see them play really good siege? Or is it going to be that second half phase where they just try things which are never going to work?
I mean, after a timeout, you'd hope it was the first time, wouldn't you? You'd hope that they use this minute or 45 seconds to really get their heads together and figure out what's going wrong, because it all seemed to fall apart after that hate clutch downstairs in Laundry. You just got the feeling that that was when the wind really got knocked out of FaZe's sails, and they then tried to play every round from that point onwards in that same manic fashion as how that round finished. And they never truly were able to let that go. We saw them then sacrificing the basics for flashy plays, for plays that are a little bit far-fetched. And, you know, FaZe are a team that can make those kind of plays work, but they can't rely on them to consistently work. That's really what we've seen there. And on the flip side, I feel like that clutch for Escolinha was, oh, we can do this. Yeah, this is doable, guys. Like, one round at a time, let's go. We will just focus and concentrate every single round. We're going to take this one round at a time. We're not going to worry that they're 3 ahead and on a map point and a series point. Take it round by round.
I mean, he's just on another level. And I think FaZe, they're getting into that trap where there's just one player on the team that you just can't deal with, and there's nothing you can really do against that. The best way you can do, I think, if you're FaZe, is just take it slow. Just take it slow. Really figure out how you're going to refrag. You know, they've allowed Hate to get away with bloody murder. You know, severe lack of refrags onto this player. And that's where I think FaZe need to focus on now going into this next round. They need to be able to get these refrags flowing as good as what we know they can do. But yeah, Hate just on another level. Just look at the difference in his team compared to him. It's nuts.
Well, we all know that one player doesn't make a team, but a good solo performance can certainly help in a
You seen that in EU earlier?
fixture. Yeah.
Did we not?
And this is definitely a close fixture. You know, we talk about the game that Cyber's been having. It's now 13-9. It's good, but it's not fantastic. It's not blowing me away. Look, 10-7. And that's really all you can look at for positive KDs on the side of FaZe. Everyone else is struggling or going neutral. FaZe are going to bring the Ying. So there is going to be that shock and awe element to this. But I would highly doubt that it has the same pace. This needs to be a very well-tempered attack. Nothing rushed.
I'm surprised we don't see the Capitão. Signature operator that we know that FaZe can bring out. Usually it's Souls on the Capitão, but, you know, we've mentioned before how flexible this team can be. Really, apart from Cyber and Bullet, who have just been on Iana and Finka as those two entries, the other 3 players have just been really picking whatever they want to go for. So I wonder how FaZe are going to approach this. Already good early clear, Ollie. Good, I think, pre-placed drones being set up, able to secure what they want, which is the meeting at the moment. It will more than likely be a blue take. I think that's where FaZe have been favored a lot of the time. Whenever you have that, Ying can be great at putting in towards Pillar through the electrical hatch. So nothing really catching me by surprise. I think what FaZe are doing is very run-of-the-mill. No real surprise.
FaZe have been very good in this game with those pre-placed drones. For as quick and as sort of sloppy as they've been in some elements of their attack, that is somewhere that has been pretty top-notch. The opening kills have really reflected that. Nade sent on through. It's going to deal with not only the barricade, but also the Goyo pocket that is behind. Try and get that out of the way nice and early, because you know that you're still going to have to deal with cons and those smokes. Flo playing on that blue door as well. His ADS will be burnt, and the nade follows in immediately after. Much better here from FaZe. The Candela's now come through. King is going to be next, sent to the cameras, and here FaZe move. A well-oiled machine coming in from that north side. Cons, he does something to bite back, but it's now all onto him to clutch out. Cyber collects that final kill. FaZe steamroller their way through and put themselves for the second time in this game on a match and series point.
Whenever things are flowing for FaZe, it's so difficult to play against it. Much better from FaZe, not wanting to rush things. They took their time. They eyed up what they needed to go for. The utility was put in perfectly. Nades again have been so good for them, and not much Escolinha can do against it. FaZe back in the lead. And now we have the switch over to the defense. FaZe will go. Escolinha, pressure back on them.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
I'm very happy with this composition for the sole reason that it has a mirror in it. FaZe winning on a laundry defense and mirror being brought are quite the correlation for this game. Save the rush round that Escolinha attempted, but I don't think that that one entirely counts. But finally, they're going to be bringing the mirror window back here. It's just going to give him so much more to play with. We saw Escolinha willing to go for that laundry freezer take. That's made much more difficult by mirror being available and brought. Now, Demo, why would you suppose that Flo has sixed from Maverick, which could be seen as quite handy for this site, onto Amaru?
He's 3 and 11. So maybe he's thinking G8, good gun, I can get some kills, perhaps. Or just gives them early access into Big Tower, I suppose, is what's happened to them. I mean, it's, you know, we've seen FaZe, they brought the Amaru in just to gain control of Big Tower. But as we know, FaZe, whenever pressure starts to hit them on this roam game, they're very quick in rotating back downstairs. So I don't think they'll be really scared of the Amaru, to say, but they won't hang around for any longer than they need to.
Yeah, happy to drop off. And kind of rightly so a lot of the time. Much more valuable to have another gun in the fight later on than find yourself a little bit too short. Hate's going to get a bit of value out of his shock drone. Manages to remove one of the canisters in the mirror window played inside of kitchen.
Pocket shield.
Already, as you mentioned, Demo.
Rotate.
FaZe happy to drop off.
Yeah, rotating utility as well, Ollie. Moving that shield out of elbow now in towards freezer. Clearly seeing that Escolinha, they're after the laundry freezer take. So rotating that bit of utility could prove quite valuable for FaZe Clan as we start to move into the final couple of seconds, because generally it's a tricky shield to get rid of. How are you going to get a nade in there? I have no idea without exposing yourself to the open holes that have been made looking into freezer from laundry. So yeah, very tricky to get rid of. Just need some picks now for Escolinha. Need to start getting some nade kills sent in, similar to what FaZe done. We've seen how important it was for FaZe to get an opening pick for their basement attacks. Escolinha now need to try and do the same. That's a great pick from the Twitch drone. Hops in through, nobody home for FaZe, and that was a big saving grace whenever we've seen FaZe defend that basement the last time. That mirror window caused a lot of issues for Escolinha. And now with that gone, will this change the fate of how this round plays out?
If you're going to bring the mirror window, you've got to use it. You've got to try and defend it. Powerful position now that you've just given up and arguably made a little bit weaker.
Well, great
cameraman. The shield will be burnt. Second nade flies in. It's only going to leave one in the hands of King. Astro tucked into default spot as well. Cameraman, he's got such an important engagement ahead of him here. Draws for the shotgun at close range.
Oh my goodness.
Hop up onto the box. Gets the down, but is downed himself. Hashi, is he going to be able to pick himself up here? Cons, he finds one over onto Cyber. 3 versus 1 now. Hashi did manage to self-revive, but it is not going to matter. Souls collects 2 very important kills. from over inside of Harry Potter. Just has to sit and wait for the second to come on in. FaZe 2-0 on the series. They've booked themselves a place in our grand finals tomorrow.
Oh, we got a rematch from a 6 Invitational tomorrow then as well, Ollie. FaZe Clan versus MIBR. Souls and Bullet backs up against the wall. Bullet had incredible kills in those final few seconds. Really dragged his team out of there. FaZe Clan just so scrappy right to the bitter end. Whew, what a game. What a game.
I mean, it's exactly how you want that game to finish, isn't it? Scrappy, a little bit messy, comes down to a bit of a clutch, comes down to a bit of a firefight that's quite confusing on the face of it. There's people hopping up onto boxes, double downs going down. There's everything that you could want and more. And FaZe, after that timeout, credit to them, were able to right their wrongs. They steadied the ship and they picked up 2 clean rounds inside of overtime, not requiring us to go to a third map like we did on Thursday to decide a winner between these two teams. FaZe in 2.
Yeah, I think FaZe coming in, always were going to be the favorites. We knew that. We've seen them beat Escolinha before. I think Escolinha, honestly, good siege. I think they had some really solid rounds. I think they were able to punish FaZe in areas that they needed to. But other times, I think their over-aggression sometimes was happening for them. I think Clubhouse, maybe some of the basics needs to be tweaked a little bit, but overall, I think they played some good siege today.
Well, it was good to see FaZe wake up today. They did suffer quite the defeat yesterday, I believe it was, so it'd be nice to see that game replayed tomorrow in our grand finals. We're going to throw this one back to our analyst desk. They're going to break that one down for you.
All right. Ollie and Demo, thank you so much for your amazing casting. And FaZe does it in 2 maps, sending home Escolinha. FaZe looked comfy, but then Escolinha had a little comeback there. I liked what Ollie said. They steadied the ship, Jesse. They steadied the ship.
They did, and once we got to overtime, definitely FaZe Clan took over for those last couple of rounds. It was not a flawless map for either team by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm still really proud of FaZe for being able to lock this one down. I do think the better team came out on top today. I love that round 13 Ying rush they were able to pull off. Just not the most uncommon play, but making sure that you can get so much space down in the basement, opening up past all that utility. I thought it was really nice from them. They weren't the only team going for rushes. I also saw Bubu's school in the first half to end things out after FaZe Clan got a little bit of momentum. They tried similar strategies where they were rushing in onto meeting, they were rushing into laundry. The first one I thought looked really good. They were able to identify that cameraman was the only player there. They pinched him in through garage and they got the kit down. Second time it was less effective for them, and I think that's kind of where we're seeing the difference between Escolinha and FaZe Clan. Those laundry rushes just not really working out when they're bringing in the blitz and there's players in the hallways. So really nice from FaZe Clan to be able to nail down those fast, aggressive pushes, and I think that's a big reason why they took home today.
Yeah, FaZe
the game overall.
win there. Definitely.
Here's what I wish could have happened, though, just from this. Escolinha is a team that in the qualifiers defeated 3 BR6 teams to even get here in the first place. They killed Furia, Double Zero Nation, and Team 1 in best of 1s and best of 3s. And then they got here, and somehow it was just FaZe Clan that was their kryptonite. They never got a chance to face MIBR. I feel like that game probably would have been really good too, but it just feels like this Escolinha to Bubu squad, they can do so much more than what it has been demonstrated on paper through just this tournament. Their qualifier run was fantastic, but I don't think it's going to be a very long time before we're going to get the chance to see them again.
All right, well, let's look ahead, Jacob and Jesse, and let's roll up the bracket and break down what we saw today. Jacob, how do you see FaZe versus MIBR playing out? I'm like, going to the grand finals.
Well, it was a bit of a stomp in one direction for MIBR when they faced FaZe Clan yesterday, but now we're talking best of 5 territory, which is going to be a much different story. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. There will be some different tactics, especially in the map ban phase, that are employed by both squads. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The difference between this one and the European final, though, is that this is 2 tier 1 teams that know each other very well. They faced each other countless times over the past 3 to 4 years, given how these rosters have all shaken out. So it's going to be that same kind of historical battle, but with a different twist because of the land stakes involved here.
Yeah, and I mean, FaZe Clan, they have a bit of experience winning best of 5s. Not a lot of players and teams can say that, so MIBR, this could be a first for them.
All right, well, very exciting stuff today, but it ain't over yet. Gamers Without Borders continues. We have some NA action coming up. Very excited about this. Leftovers versus Parabellum. So do not go anywhere. We'll be back after a short break. See ya.